I don't think I felt like I was like...
Yeah, you shouldn't have to change your body posture to fit. I love how you do like funny things then.
Right.
Like you try and reduce your spine. Yeah.
Oh, that was a good stretch I just got in.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yes.
I'm a Virgo, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And you're Leo.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. We're still friends.
I think so. Yeah.
I think so, too.
All right. Are you ready over there? Oh, yeah. Good. Yeah, always. Okay. Welcome to In the Act. It's a program on process in the creative life. Creativity does not just start and stop with artists. We all make aesthetic or guiding decisions. Our aim is to talk through the process and investigate how we choose to express ourselves and to live creatively. We're connecting with people about their lives, and that's the subject of our show. Broadcasting from the studio at Mead Public Library in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, I am Erica Hunsinger, and this is In the Act. And today's guest on In the Act is Charmder.
Hi, Erica.
Did I say that right?
You did say that. Think of wonder.
Oh.
So, der.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that too.
I love that.
A cool bonus when I got married and changed my name.
Yeah. Nice. I love it. The first 5 minutes that we've been together, you've taught me 3 new things already.
And likewise. And I got in a good stretch.
Nice.
So we're off to a great start.
And we met. I'm so glad that you're on the show because for many reasons. But we met at the public library's
the Makers Fair.
Makers
right?
Fair,
yeah.
Correct, right? And you were reading your book,
My Happiness Counts.
Happiness Counts,
yeah.
And has such a great message. And loved talking with you about why you chose to write that specifically, why you're invested and interested in those things in your life, and why you think it's important. And I really think that your voice needs to be heard as a bridge for people and, elevate and support and connect and create. So
thank you.
Yeah. So do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. I am originally from Detroit, Michigan.
Oh,
yeah. And relocated here a few years ago to the Sheboygan County area, my husband and I, for a job opportunity.
Great.
And we, just really fell in love with the community, fell in love with the location.
Yeah.
And so it's just been phenomenal. To be involved in the community work that I do. I do diversity, equity, and inclusion work.
Fabulous.
Professionally and both as a community volunteer. And so that's just been really, really great.
That's so great and so needed, I think. And as a transplant from Chicago,
so you can
the culture shock of going from a major city to Sheboygan is really interesting. Although I think that Sheboygan is really developing its own. Sheboygan area, Sheboygan County is developing its sort of its own narrative and functionality and purpose and creation. We're in a growth spurt, I think.
I'd agree. And I think, I don't know if you've heard the term Midwest nice. Have you heard of that? Yeah.
Can I say that? I don't like Midwest nice.
Midwest nice.
I don't. I really don't.
Well, let's. You want to dive into it?
Totally. Yeah.
Let's dive into it.
So my mom and dad are from the East Coast, and everybody is really direct and a little sharp and a little edgy, I think, in a lot of ways. But at least you know where their parameters are and their boundaries are, and then you can get over it easily too. It's this is a problem. This is what happened. This is what's going on.
Right.
And now we're moving on. Did you want to have dinner on Friday?
Right.
And I feel they're Midwest Nice has this holding cell of until it's not okay.
Right. So it's I'm going to be nice in these parameters. And
right.
You have to mold into that. Well, that's kind of leading into what I was saying.
Great.
You experience the Midwest nice. And I was excited to have the opportunity to meet people that operate outside of that parameter.
Great.
People who are genuinely authentic.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's really been a fun journey for me. And even in the short amount of time that I've been here, kind of to your point, Sheboygan has transformed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like people and place.
Absolutely.
And so I've been excited to be a part of that trajectory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that got to me, and maybe this is going to tie into it, is I felt like an outsider coming into Sheboygan. I didn't
100%.
feel like I was welcome. To be honest, maybe that's a little much right now, but and I found out, I think, that it's because they're so dedicated to relationships and family and
Exactly.
like their
Yes.
neighbors, and they'll take care of everybody around them. Their tree extends and their roots extend really deep, and they are dedicated and loyal people.
Agreed.
And once you're in, you're good.
Once you're in, you're solid.
You're solid. But I think that there's like a little bit of a hesitancy or like an otherness
Yeah.
that
agree.
that I felt. But as a single white older woman, single heterosexual, I mean, I
Yeah.
fit in some things, and that I think this area has a majority of.
Yeah. And I think, that's another podcast episode, right? The otherness, right?
Right.
When we talk about diversity, it's along dimensions, right? So when you talk
Yeah.
about like your gender identity or your relationship status or all of these different things, there are still opportunities for people to experience otherness.
Yeah.
Regardless of what their background is.
Right.
So we need to collaborate on, how can we create a better way for people who are new to our community to
Yes.
feel welcome? Because it was a journey for my husband and I as well. And then when we had children,
Yeah.
that was another community to learn how to navigate.
Absolutely. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that teasing through those things and talking about them and bringing them to light is so important for generating those synaptic gaps,
Yeah.
like that, like making those connections and having those bridges. So,
Agreed.
yeah.
You're a bridge builder. I love that. I'm a bridge builder too.
Oh, yay.
Look at us.
That's
Very
so cute. I
cool.
love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to, or would you talk a tiny bit about how you came on the journey of wanting to be this bridge builder, to be like in the diversity, equity, belonging, inclusion?
Yeah, that's a good question. Not many people have asked me that question. So as I reflect on it, just kind of as early as I can remember, I've always been intrigued by human connection.
Yeah.
And been inspired by it. And I've always had, a family who was involved in the community.
Yeah.
And really welcomed people of all backgrounds and all ability sets. And so just as an example, I remember, one day I was having a conversation with Mom, and I was like in elementary. And I can't even remember how we got on a topic, but there was someone that we knew who was deaf.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, well, you can learn sign language and learn how to communicate with them. And I was like, I can do that? And she's like, yeah. Like, let's go find you some classes. And that was in elementary.
Wow.
Right? And so I would say anytime there was an opportunity for us to help others, whether that was in our family or in our community,
Yeah.
my mom always pushed me and my brothers to do that. And so that just very much became like the fabric of my being, if you will.
Wow.
And then when I got to college, I chose to study public affairs because, again, along the line of social justice and community development and
Sure.
activism, oh gosh, I forget who said the quote, but one of the quotes that my mom used to say is that activism is like the price that you pay for being on this planet.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And
right.
so that was my upbringing. So I kind of had no choice, right?
Yeah.
But to be this global citizen who was really involved with how can I make the community better than I found it. And from there, I studied public affairs. And
I mean, hold on a second.
Yeah.
I mean, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I just can't
thank
leave
you.
that moment. I mean, that's just like the flowers that we need on this earth, right? Like that's the message.
you.
That's the drive that I think is within all of us, and also makes our life so much more rewarding and connected to, and to have that instilled by your mom at such a young age too is like, again, right. What did you say? Like fabric of your life, right? Like
Yeah,
that is like of you.
That's just who I am. And, when you said connected, that also just sparked a thought that, it's like individuality is a myth. Right? Like we are all interconnected. Everything,
Yes.
Everything that I do in some way impacts those around me. And so, I mean, that even ties into creativity, right? If I'm not channeling into my gifts and my creativity, maybe something I created, My Happiness Counts, children's book,
Yeah.
is a message that someone else needs.
Absolutely.
So I don't know.
I love that.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about their like individuality?
Yeah. So
Because I feel like if I'm stuck on it, and I'm stuck on it just because I think people are trained to think of themselves as individuals and unique individuals, and that we're all really special. But there's also like billions of us on the planet that have like living at the same time, experiencing very similar things, creating very similar things. But they're also really unique too. But I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, so as an individual, yes, we are special. We are unique. We do have our own sets of talents and abilities to contribute.
Yeah.
But it's also important to think about how we impact those around us. We can't, walk around with our blinders on and only, worry about our own consumption and our own, because all of those things affect how other people show up in the world.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
even, as we talked about, feeling like an outsider. So people operating only in the area of self
Yeah.
and their own social circles aren't realizing that they aren't creating inclusive communities, which then impacts the community,
Yes.
which then impacts economic drivers to the community
Yes.
because where you work is driven by where you live, right?
Yes.
So it's all interconnected, and I think that
Hugely important what you just said. Yeah.
Thank
I agree.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think we just need to learn how to, focus on self,
Yeah.
and help self to thrive,
Right.
so that we're better citizens for our communities.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And it's so hard because if you're not getting enough for yourself in whatever capacity, let's go Maslow's like basic needs, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not getting, if you don't have shelter, or your shelter is compromised, or if your food isn't stable, like you don't know, you're flipping between bills and food.
Yeah.
Or you're having to visit the food pantry, or you have like emotional things going on in your family, your physical disabilities, or, whatever you found yourself in this present time, it disallows in some cases, like to be able to reach out and be connected better for others. And so I always feel like it's like this bad cycle. Like, how do we then support our individuals in these basic ways so that they too can feel empowered to be connected?
Yeah. I think, part of it is helping people understand their self-efficacy helping people feel empowered to help.
Yeah.
Everyone can help.
Yeah.
And again, this goes back to activism.
Right.
What is your form of activism? I like to say that mine is education.
Yeah.
Right. I like to communicate and share information with people. I'm very much in the hearts and minds work, if you will, because if laws were all we needed to end our social ills, then everything would be done, right? We have to, reshape our social norms. So that's my form of activism.
Yeah.
Someone else's form of activism may be donating money, donating time. So I think that all of us have a hand in trying to create spaces to your point of Maslow's hierarchy of needs so that people who are in more marginalized communities or spaces are able to thrive as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what our driving force was like, it doesn't feel bad. It feels odd.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
Oh gosh, that could be applied to so many.
Yes. Right. Welcome back to In the Act. I'm Erica Hunsinger, and we are with Charm Durr, and we are laughing about something that things can be odd and you can still learn from them.
Some train wrecks are learning experiences.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We won't dive into any of mine, though.
Really? Yeah. No. Just generalized anxiety about it, right? But I do, I think we're so focused so many times on like a perfection, and we want things to go well. Of course, everybody wants to go well, right? It's like of us, it feels so good when it goes well. You feel proud of yourself. People give you accolades too, like whatever it is. It's from tiny, minuscule, micro to macro. But I
do you
found
learn,
that,
right?
Right. There's I don't know, this is a really dumb thing that just occurred to me, but like with skiing, not that I ski, but like if you fall down, it's considered, well, you're actually trying.
Right.
So the more you fall down, it's like you're actually pushing yourself to hopefully get up. Now, it's not the act of falling down, it's the recovery.
Oh,
right?
I love that.
It's the response. Like, you're always going to make mistakes.
We're
guaranteed.
Human.
Yeah.
I promise you.
Yep. Big ones. Just, Yep. But just yesterday, I had my own nice big mouth experience. However, I know that how I'm going to respond and how I reconnect and try to reshape it has a lasting effect on the relationships that I care about. And even if I don't care about the person,
right,
I care about the person's experience to have better experiences. So even if we don't get along, which isn't the case, but even if we don't get along, like that there are these that I'm helping to train myself as well to create these communication bridges or response reactions to mistakes. And that accidents always are, or can always have, these major shifts then for learning experiences, shared growth.
I love the shared growth.
Right? Because you're going to look at somebody and go, ooh, I'm not going to do that.
I'm not going to make that mistake.
I'm not going to make that mistake.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So I guess that's what I've been thinking about this morning.
We've been thinking about a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
So would you like to share a little bit about the book that you wrote?
Sure.
Yeah?
Sure. So my children's book, it's a counting book.
Yeah.
Counting 1 through 10. And, the whole story is about how happiness is within you. and all around you.
Yeah.
In these everyday moments. And so I start the book out with one big smile for mommy to match mine, because that was a call and response that my mom had with us when we were younger. And so I just thought it was something really great once I had little ones to say one big smile for mommy to match mine.
I love it.
And when we became teenagers, it was like one big smile for mommy. We're like, no.
Right.
But, but as an adult, I really valued that call and response, because it just, it's like her love and her happiness, her social emotional health impacted mine. Right?
Yeah.
And I just really wanted to create a space for parents to have conversations with their children about happiness.
Yeah.
Like your happiness matters.
Right.
Your happiness, and I'm saying this to you.
I hear it. I
Your
feel it. I
happiness
got
counts,
it. Yeah.
And I do events with, I do storytelling events and activities. And one of the activities I do like a worksheet, and I have little ones say, what are 3 things that make you happy? And then I turn to the parents and I'm like, same question for you.
Excellent. I love that you rope them in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's, I think it's an exercise. So I'm going to do this with you now.
Oh, gosh. Before you asked the question, I was like, she's going to ask me.
What? Yeah. Okay. So what are 3 things that make you happy?
Oh, I'm going to cry. My friends.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, I can't talk now.
I'm sorry. But it's
so
but
great.
This is the type of like self-reflective work that we need. And then now that you're saying that your friends make you happy, like, do they know that? Right? So now this is an opportunity to just love bomb them.
Right? I know. No, I love bomb them. They're like, okay, we got it.
Like, relax.
Erica, cut it out.
Like,
we know. Yeah.
But
like my partner, my friends, my family, like my relationships that's what makes me happy for sure.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, now you have 2 more things.
Oh, 2 more things. What makes me happy? What makes me happy is seeing or being witness to or experiencing other people's happiness and successes. It fills me with joy. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then your 3rd.
Animals and pets.
You have pets? Do you have pets?
I do. I have 2 cats. Yeah.
Very cool.
I love them.
Yeah. I have,
and like other people's, I feel like my friends' pets are also my friends.
Okay. So you can, my pet, I have a miniature pincher.
No
Capone. Way.
Oh
a
my
miniature
gosh.
pincher Capone. I've had him for 15 years.
It's like my dream dog. I used to Google miniature pinchers and like go, oh, I totally want you. Oh. That's so cool, Capone. I have to meet Capone. We have to be friends.
He is quite the troublemaker, even in his old age. But I don't know. I was talking to my friend Kelly over at Word Haven Book House. About my dog, and she was bringing up the point that your pets are brought into your life for a reason.
Wow.
And just we kind of just were like backtracking our stories of like, oh, when I had this pet, like this is what I was going through in life, and this is so they're very much a part of our lives. And I mean, Capone and I have been together for 15 years.
That's amazing.
So, I can't imagine without my little guy.
Right.
Yeah.
My cat, one of my cats, is 17, and he now keeps track of my like timing. I think like during COVID,
now he's father time.
He's father time. He's like the and he kind of makes sure that I'm up in the morning. I have to give him medication at a certain time, so he meows for that. He like takes me into the kitchen for them to be fed and like kind of manage. He's like the time manager.
Well, that's you, and you need that. Right?
I obviously need it. He fulfilled a role for sure.
That role.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
So thank you for participating in that reflective exercise.
Oh yeah, and I feel like it would behoove me to ask you the same thing, right? Did you feel it first?
How did I not see this coming? Okay.
What are 3 things that make you happy, Charm?
So I would say seeing my children experience life. It makes me so like I'm almost speechless trying to describe it, because just seeing them like experience new things makes it a new experience for me,
right?
And just being able to share things with them. So I just absolutely adore that.
I mean, it's like it's like magic. Like
yes,
it's dynamic and it changes, and they're new beings every day. Something shifts and changes and grows and moves, and that's so cool.
And just like to see their perspective on things is just it's such a wild ride. And so that's one thing that makes me really happy.
Yeah.
I would say I've been getting back into my artwork. So just taking time for myself to like create that art makes me really happy.
Right.
Oh gosh, and now I'm going to get emotional, but my brother passed a few years ago, which was kind of like the impetus for us relocating to the Sheboygan area. We wanted to get closer to Detroit. Thank you. And art has just always been a really big part of my family life. Like when I was younger, my mom, we used to have like art competitions, like, at the dining room table, like she'd give us something to draw, and I don't know why, but dinosaurs coming to my mind, and we all had to like draw a dinosaur, and so it was just that was just one thing that really connected me and my brothers, even as we got older.
Yeah.
And so I remember, when he was in the hospital and he couldn't talk, one of the like he drew a picture. And it was just funny, like we were drawing pictures of my mom, which she probably didn't like. But we were just drawing like caricatures of my mom, and it was just, I don't know. So
I love that.
Just getting back into that art just makes me feel more connected to
Absolutely.
him and even my little brother. So that's making me really, really happy. And
that's beautiful.
I would say the third thing that makes me happy right now is having more opportunities to do DE&I work.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Yeah.
I've been in this space for a very long time. And, in recent years, there's been a surge in interest in the space, which has created more opportunities. And so I'm just really excited that I have the opportunity to, exercise my talents in this space, and just keeping in mind, all of the people before me who didn't have that freedom and that ability to do this work.
Right.
So that's making me happy right now.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad you shared those. And on the heels of that, when you said that there's more openness to it in the last few years is really hopeful.
Yeah.
Hopeful, I think.
I'd agree.
Yeah. It's great. On the heels of the art making, I saw that when I met you in the library, you had 2 framed pieces with you. Did you want to talk about those pieces?
Sure.
Can we look at them?
Yeah, let's look at them.
I'm going to get up from the
Okay. That was your transportation sound.
Right? That was it totally was. Can I lay them here?
Yeah, go for it. So this art piece is called Alone But Not Alone. And so it was recreation of another work that I found online. But essentially, I just love the idea of the solitude and spending time with self and just kind of reflecting on self. And so that's what that represents. So it's like you're alone, but you're not alone.
Right.
You know, you're taking that time for yourself.
So for people who can't see the image, it is
I would say like a woman on a
stylized,
boat.
right?
Yeah.
Stylized, a woman on a boat, very small within almost the center of the picture on what looks like water in these earth tone, like mountain scenes, sun, but very minimal, just lovely shapes and lines that are easy.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of hard lines or sharpness to it.
I would say so. And my art style, and this is, I don't want to get the art community riled up with this comment, but
that's what art is.
Yeah,
You're supposed to do stuff like that. Like there aren't any parameters.
Yeah,
you get to make your own.
I think for me, it's tough to like find your style because I think in the art world, right, we say like reject style, just create, just do whatever you want to do.
Oh, interesting.
But then I also want to find a medium that I'm most comfortable with.
Absolutely.
And I want to, I don't want to say perfect because we just talked about perfection, but I want to perfect my craft.
I think that's different though. I think that's different. That's becoming an expert of material, right? Knowing like, just because you may be a scholar of, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't mean that you're perfect at it, right? It means that you have this deep knowledge of it. And so that's, I think, the perfecting, right? That's you want to be an expert in the knowledge that you're building. You're right.
And I think, and that ties into being a creative.
Oops. Yep.
Right. Because a creative is having the desire to create, right?
Yes.
And you have to keep creating to be a creative. So,
right.
I love that. And then this other illustration is of my little brother.
Wow.
My little brother, Joseph. Yeah.
And it is a portrait. These are two-dimensional images. It's a portrait, simplified, 3 colors, almost like a chocolate brown, black, and a heathered gray background.
Yeah. Yeah, my brother sent me a photo of himself, and I said, okay, this looks like it should be artwork. So I put that together for him. And then I kept it because I was like, it looked too good. I was like, this is too cool to gift you. So,
well, sometimes you have to make another piece because the piece that you've made teaches you something about who you want to be as the next part of your creative journey.
Oh,
so sometimes they're like hinge pieces that you're like, I'll gift you another,
right?
You know, because you have to have like those threads of continuity. I think sometimes when you're trying to develop your style, or when you have your style and you find something new that excites you. And I think so much of finding your style and continuing to create is so much based in play, so much based in experimentation. And it is that sort of, you do have free reign. The menu is wide open.
Right.
But what makes sense to you, and what do you gather around you?
Right.
And what's your interest, and what's your focus? And so with these two pieces, you have this woman on a boat it's a very small boat for that woman.
Yeah.
As well, in a pretty large, expansive space. But it doesn't make me nervous. It feels calm.
Right.
That's my experience of it, though. Yeah.
Oh.
What is Do you want to talk a little bit more about these pieces?
Yeah. I mean, that's my experience too. So I love that that's how you saw that piece. It's always interesting, right, to hear how
Totally
anyone sees any piece of art. But I would say that I really like for the portrait of my brother, I've been really working on portrait pieces now, more so like headshots and group photos.
And why is that?
I think it ties into like people and family. And that's, again, so subconsciously.
Right.
Oh, thanks wow, Erica.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Like it ties back to the exact reason why I even started my artwork.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And there's your thread.
And there's my thread.
Yeah, I feel like there's all these cues and clues around us that what we're drawn to and what we bring into our space and what we choose to generate.
Yeah.
And I love that that's like this tiny epiphany of I mean, having the book there next to it, My Happiness Counts, next to, your little brother, family, and that this is part of that whole nurtured and nurturing and course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's like that feeling that you're small within this beautiful universe.
Right.
Right. But that it's...
Gosh, that's a whole topic in itself I don't want to dive into. Like sobbing.
I know. You totally made me cry. I love my friends so much.
Oh, gosh.
It's good.
Yeah.
Welcome back to In the Act. I'm Erica Hunsinger. We are here with Charm Durr, having such a great time, such a good conversation involving so much of this like accordion of information in life, and feel very in line with what you're talking about and how you're thinking, and I'm learning a lot too. So it's really lovely. We were talking about the artwork and that you brought in, and wondering, have you taken any art classes, Charm?
No, not one. Not one art class. But I think that's a story in itself, right?
Of course. Yeah.
You can always create. There's so many different ways to teach yourself how to create art. And so that's been exciting for me.
That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a museum in town too that are dedicated to people who are self-taught. So
right, exactly.
And what materials made sense to them, and what was around them, or what they chose to bring into their lives. Yeah. I mean, that's such a great metaphor for us humans, and where there aren't any rules on those things.
There aren't any rules.
There really aren't. And so what you're responding to and what you're interested in and how you choose to perform it or to, express yourself within it is all healthy. Yeah. All healthy things to do, and has value. It doesn't mean that you had to have taken professional or lessons for it, because I think what mostly the important thing about art school is just communication. It's just trying to express your ideas, thoughts, emotions, whatever it is, into whatever form that people can talk about then.
And right? I think it's also about who you surround yourself with.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I can say, and this is going back to friends and family, and especially like my husband, he supports me 110%.
Oh, man.
Right? And so, when I expressed my interest to, start my artwork again, like he got me an iPad and he's like, oh, you got to do this. And, did you draw anything today? And,
wow.
Just checking on me and then encouraging me to create. And I think that's really important. And so, and that's twofold, right? So he doesn't draw, right? But he encourages me to be creative.
Right.
So
it's huge.
It's support in that space. And then it's also to surround yourself with other people who are passionate about creating artwork or in any medium.
Absolutely.
Right?
absolutely.
And learning from them and getting their feedback.
Because I really think that, again, I think that art isn't or creativity just isn't housed in the fine arts. Creativity is in everything that we do, from how we dress to how we plate our food to the craft that it takes to drive a bulldozer and to move the dirt in a certain particular way, and the timing of it, right, is like learning these things to incorporate into your life.
Yeah. Creativity is the beginning of everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, everything has to be created.
Right.
So there's creativity in everything.
Why did that seem mind-blowing?
You're welcome.
Yeah. So good. I feel like you're doing all of these important, beautiful things, but
Thank you.
And I'm so glad that you're sharing them with us and with the community and with your family. But when you're just beginning those ideas, how do they shape? How do they take shape? Like, what are some things that what are some things that you've noticed about yourself that within those, you can choose a project,
sure if we have enough
right?
time.
I know.
But,
I know they're big, but
yeah, no. So for me, this is for any, and I'm sure my friends will listen to this part and laugh hysterically, but I'm in a constant state of ideation.
And what do you mean by that?
I just have so many ideas about things all the time.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's really, okay, let's focus on one idea.
Right.
And then see that come to life. And so this is going back to childhood too. There was a contest, it was a local contest about you had to invent something.
Yeah.
And I remember I was so excited to enter this contest.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I got all these ideas.
Right.
So 2 of the ideas that I entered into my invention was a microwave that made things cold really fast.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the next one was a snowblower that melted the ice into water and then just vacuumed the water up.
Oh.
Right?
Cool.
Those are genius ideas. No one liked those ideas. It didn't make the competition, and my teachers were like, those are awful ideas. You can't make food cold really fast. That makes no sense. Now, fast forward, you have flash refrigerators, and all of these things kind of exist in some form. So that was a lesson that not everyone's going to like all of the ideas that you have.
Right. I think,
right?
Yes.
But
there's also the lesson of making sure not to squash ideas of children, because if they're in brainstorming capacity, if they're in brainstorming creative generating huge amounts of these amazing things like your inventions were,
right.
To cap that serves a very...
It's a disservice.
It's damaging, I think, can be damaging to kids to do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that happened to you. It makes me upset to hear that, honestly.
Well, I think the silver lining in that is my mom, obviously encouraged me, not everyone's going to believe your ideas.
Right.
You have a lot of great ideas, but let's start writing these ideas down.
Fantastic.
Right. And so that
response.
was right. And so that was the very first time where it was like, okay, here's a notebook. These are your notebook of your ideas and things. And I, to this day, still have a notebook where I write down my ideas and I compartmentalize them to say, okay, is this a community idea? Is this a family idea? Is this a, art idea? And from there, I just kind of focus on what my target audience is and what I'm trying to convey.
Yeah.
And I do research too.
Right.
That's a large part of my creative process. Because number one, I want to make sure I'm not copying any idea.
Sure.
One of my teachers used to always say, your thoughts have been thought 1,000 times.
Right.
I do my research, and I just kind of, I go from there.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the foundation of anything that I do.
I love that. And I love that you have a notebook that is like a treasure trove of these generated ideas, and that you don't, that early on, again, your mother giving you the outlet, showing you a response to this experience for that accident, right? To have this, you're going to make a mistake, right? Mm-hmm. This person made a mistake. To use that then to navigate and house something that may have not have been housed like that before. Giving you a notebook and to continue having a notebook to generate ideas into is, I think, such a wonderful idea for like everybody.
Right.
There's so much talk about journaling and reflection, I think, but I don't think there's a lot of value placed on what are your ideas.
Yeah.
Write those down, and it's okay. You don't have to do them right now or ever, but look at what you thought of.
Right.
And I love that then, because you can do that well. It's like choose one, focus on one, and then develop it in a way that makes sense to you and to the context of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, another part of my creative process, now that after you said that just reminded me, I am okay with doing a lot, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, your career is what people expect to drive your passions out in your everyday life, right? So
I think that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So, someone will look at me and say, well, you do like DI work, you've been in HR, like, how are you writing a children's book? And it's like, I can do both.
Right.
I think that being multi-passionate is a gift.
Absolutely. I think that we're very monocultured.
Yes.
In that, in so many ways. And so that even in trying to decipher what an answer is, like that it has to be like one particular thing. It could be a complex answer.
Right. That was me like not wanting to say perfectionism, but I'm like, okay, wait, it's a little nuanced, so it can be this. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And that there's more than one thing, and it's okay. Yeah. That you can do these beautiful art pieces.
Thank you.
Write your books,
heal my community,
heal your community,
heal myself.
Heal yourself. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Right. Jinx, you owe me a Coke. And so, okay, well, what are some ways in which you feel like you heal yourself?
I heal myself through like self-reflection. I am okay with spending time with myself.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think that a lot of times, especially in nowadays, like and this is not a knock to social media, but
yeah.
All of these images of all of these people living their lives in these picture perfect ways that are presented on the internet. And
yes,
all of those things can impact how people feel about themselves.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And it's, like the old saying of comparison is the thief to joy, I think it is. So yeah, I don't compare.
Yeah.
I just, reflect on where I am, think about where I want to be.
Do you do that just in your head, or do you write it down?
I write it down.
Yeah.
I write it down. And yeah, I do a lot of reflection. I'm always checking in with myself, and, I have, an amazing family and friends who we check in on each other.
Yeah.
Just the other day, I just, messaged my friend, and I'm like, hey, how are you? And she's like, I was just about to message you. It's just like those, those moments of, checking in.
Right.
So I do that, and I want to say that's probably like my key way.
Yeah. That's great. I love that.
What about you? How are you? How do you heal? And
I don't write as much as I used to, but talking with others, connecting, and I think to kind of purge, I paint. So when you asked me earlier, like, what are the 3 things that make me happy? I was like, oh, painting is not coming to mind, but I'm a painter. I think of it as it's difficult to do, and I feel like it's that's where my reflective time and purging of things that don't feel good. I can put it
get
into
rid of the ick.
Yeah,
listen.
Yeah,
I hear you. I hear you. My friends are always like, that I you just get rid of things so quickly, and I'm like, no, I get rid of the ick. If anything doesn't, if I don't feel good about a situation, or if a situation or a person doesn't make me feel good about myself, I separate myself from it.
Wow.
Because there's no positivity in that. There's no growth in that. There's no love in that. So I have to get rid of the ick. That's self-preservation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we all have to make those choices and boundaries for ourselves that feel okay for ourselves, respectfully for ourselves and for others.
Agreed.
Yeah. And hard to do.
Hard to do.
Hard to do.
Hard to do.
Yeah. I think after purging, I need self-care. So I would say like coffee, music, friend time, and baths.
I love that you said that, because I think that when people talk about self-care, they only talk about baths.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
It's like, I need a bath. And it's like, oh, a bath is cleansing yourself.
Right.
We do that regularly.
I need to suspend.
But I love that, because self-care is, oh my gosh, I love that. Because self-care is found in so many different things. It's just essentially how you find peace with yourself.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And we all need a little more joy.
We all need a little more happiness.
Oh, look at that. That's so good. It's true, though.
Yeah.
We really do.
We really do.
And, I think we get made fun of in other countries because we're like, have a nice day, happiness
Yeah, I'm always like, have a happy day.
Right.
But,
I mean it. I really do. I'm like, I'm not giving that up because I really mean it.
Don't.
I want to hold the door open for somebody that doesn't get the door held open for them. I want to say to somebody, like, have a nice day, so that they feel it differently, and it's not just a rote thing that some company told you to say.
Right.
Like, it feels good to have it genuinely.
Authentic. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. So kind of going back to the day that we met at the Makers Fair, this family walked up to me and they were like passing out cards, and I got a card that said, if anyone hasn't told you today, you're amazing, you're wonderful, and you're loved. And then I gave them my book, and they just kind of kept walking along, and then they circled back 10 minutes later and they were like, this is amazing. And it was just funny that we were just exchanging.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was just, I don't know. So that was just really sweet when you said you want to, keep sharing happiness and sharing, messages of joy.
Totally.
Yeah.
And
that's what it takes.
That's what you're doing. And that's like what I think that's how we build a better community together. All of us is like taking those moments that we're able to,
right?
When we're able to, when we can, to take those moments to just slow down a second for an other moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Unlearning some of our social norms and belief systems. And
that too.
Right.
Keep that in your back pocket.
Keep that in your
or somewhere else. Drop it. Fell out. Whatever.
Yeah. I think that's so important to create inclusive communities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful to have talked with you today. And
I am too. Nothing happens on accident, right? So I'm so happy we met that day.
I know, me
right?
too.
Like,
I know, me too. It was so good.
Meant to happen.
I'm so glad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Charm. And if people wanted to get a hold of you, how would they connect with you?
You can connect with me on my children's website, my children's book website, www.myhappinesscounts.com.
Excellent.
And then also my business website is www.wonderatwork.com.
Wonder at Work.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. Helping inquisitive leaders make impactful change.
Yes.
It all starts with an idea, right?
Yes.
Wonder. So, yeah.
Everybody grab a notebook.
Grab a notebook.
And hold the door open.
We're going to do a notebook raffle. Okay, no, we're not. Can we do a Can we do? We're going to raffle off a notebook.
Right.
Autographed by Erica and I.
Yeah, right. Charm and Erica.
Right.
Thank you so much, Charm. This has been absolutely delightful to have you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I've enjoyed every minute.
Me too.
In the Act is produced in the studios at Mead Public Library in Sheboygan, Wisconsin. More information on the web at meadpl.org.